What if college football used a March Madness format? We know the answer. We performance, rate, and rank all 136 college football teams every single week. Here's what a 64-team playoff would look like at the conclusion of the 2025 regular season. In the Midwest region, featuring the number 1 overall seed, Indiana would take on Memphis, the 16 seed. Old Dominion and Arizona State would be your 8-9 matchup. USC Georgia Tech would be your 5-12 matchup. Vanderbilt and Illinois would be the 4-13. Iowa and Kennesaw State, the 6-11. Texas A&M and Washington State, your 3 seed versus 14 seed. Tennessee and LSU would be the 7-10 matchup. And rounding out the Midwest region, Texas, Florida in a 2-15 matchup.
Call me crazy, but I see an Elite Eight happening in this bracket where one side is obviously Indiana and the other side is Iowa, and we get a rematch there, one of Indiana's closest games of the year.
In the South region, the number 2 overall seed, Georgia, taking on Nebraska, the 16 seed. The 8-9 matchup features USF and Virginia, the 5-12 Tulane and UNLV, 4-13 Alabama and Toledo, 6-11 North Texas taking on Washington, the 3-14 matchup Utah and San Diego State, 7-10 matchup New Mexico, Western Michigan. Woo! And your 2-15 matchup rounding out the South region, Ole Miss and Minnesota. New Mexico, Western Michigan is a G5 sickos dream matchup. That concludes the top half of the bracket. Now to the bottom half. The East region featuring the number 4 overall seed, Ohio State at the 1, South Carolina at the 16. Duke and Kansas State are your 8-9 matchup. Navy, Houston in the 5-12. Miami, Louisville in a rematch in the 4-13 matchup. TCU and SMU in the 6-11. BYU taking on the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana in the 3 versus 14 matchup. Your 7-10, Iowa State taking on Clemson. And rounding out the East region, Notre Dame, the 2 seed, taking on FIU.
What would excite me about this side of the bracket is we would have BYU versus Notre Dame, 2 teams that were snubbed by the committee.
In the top half of the bracket, Ohio State and Miami.
It most likely would, Andrew, but would Ohio State make it past Duke in the second round with the way Duke was playing to end the year?
Who knows? In the West region, the number 3 overall seed, Texas Tech is your 1 seed, taking on Texas State at the 16, a nice in-state Texas matchup. Your 8-9 matchup will be Pitt and Boise State. 5-12, Michigan, NC State. 4-13, James Madison and Wake Forest. 6-11, Arizona taking on UConn. The 3-14 matchup, Oklahoma and Cincinnati. The 7-10 matchup would be Missouri and Penn State, and rounding out the West region in the 2-15 matchup, Oregon taking on UTSA.
I'm really curious what Arizona could do with the way they ended the year and seeing them take on UConn and then the winner of Oklahoma Cincinnati. I could see Arizona, possibly facing Oregon. The way Fafita was slinging it and their defense was stepping up at the end of the year, they could make a dark horse Final Four run in this kind of format.
And when you seed a tournament this way, most people wrote Penn State off as dead once James Franklin was fired. Penn State finished the year hot. The S&P 50 recognized it, and seeing Penn State as a 10 seed here just shows how improved that second half of the season was for the Nittany Lions. On July 15th, we will start to unveil our 2026 preseason rankings. We will unveil all 138 teams now. We have 2 new teams in the FBS this year, and July 15th will be the start of that preseason rankings release. If you've made it this far in the video, please subscribe for hyper-focused, bias-free college football content.